Welcome to the Rotary Club of LaGrange. Today, June 29th, 2022. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation today given by Ken Miles. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be together again this week for great food, fellowship, and to learn more about our community. Be with those that couldn't be here today. Be watchful over them, keep them safe, and bring them back to us. Lord, be with all our members and everyone's here today. Encourage, strengthen, and guide them as they serve the community, the business, organization, church, and family. Lord, it's been a trying year coming out of COVID and loss of fellow members. Thank you for Jason's leadership and guidance through the year and your continued blessing on those families, those that are gone. In Christ's name, pray. Amen.
Now I'd like to ask Scott Landon to come introduce our visitors and guests. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce our guests. Please stand when I call your name and remain standing until all have been introduced. First, Jay Murray and Kendra Atkinson, who are with our West Georgia Community Interact Club. Bryce Hillman is a guest of Susan Ferguson, who's our COO at Wellstar, West Georgia. And Candy Adams, who's a guest of Sandy Lee. And our speakers will be introduced in a little bit. We're very happy you're all here today. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. And now we do have, a couple birthdays and anniversaries. On July 4th, Kendall Butler celebrates a birthday. And on July 1st, Connor Smith celebrates 8 years with our club. So happy birthday and anniversary to them. I would like to say thank you to Trey Long for the last 2 weeks leading us while I was away. I guess y'all thought I handed that pen off again and then I wasn't coming back. So, no, I wasn't gonna miss today. So, I appreciate that, Trey. Thanks for leading us and getting us to today. We do have a couple of announcements, a few different speakers speaking today. First, some housekeeping. I don't know if everybody is aware there were some water issues in a main down here that broke, and right now the front restrooms aren't working. If you need to go, the locker room restrooms down at the end of the hall are still working and available. So just didn't want anybody to get in a bad situation there. A reminder that we have a board meeting today. Immediately following this meeting, just next door, we'll be having our meeting. So anybody that needs a makeup or is on the board to meet, we'll do that at 1 o'clock today. Now I'd like to ask Daisha Fuller to come up and give us a little update on the parade.
Alrighty, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daisha Fuller. I am the chair this year of the 38th Annual Sweetland Liberty. Our Grand Marshal is Greg Watts with Sleep and Heavenly Peace, so that's why we came up with the theme, Peace, Love, and Freedom. So we're going with a groovy 70s theme. So first, let's see. I'm so excited to be here, as y'all can tell. But thank you all so much for volunteering your time on Monday, July 4th. For the volunteers, we will meet at the Sweetland, Sweetland Amphitheater. I'm so sorry. We will meet there around 9 o'clock. If you can get there at 9, we will then tell you where we need you to stand. The main thing is trying to keep our kids safe. So we will need you at all the corners, making sure that everyone is falling in line, make sure no one leaves with no one that they're not supposed to, but we'll also have members of Junior Service League to help with that. But if you can, wear your groovy, your hippie stuff, and just come to have a good time. So we hope to see you all there with your groovy stuff. And that's all.
So the parade starts at 10, right?
It
So
starts
we
at
be there at 9.
Be there at 9, and then you will get here at 10.
Okay, and then we have sashes for Rotary.
Okay, again, thank you.
All right, we're glad to do it. We love doing it. And then I'd also like to let, we had a couple of students go down to the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, last week, 2 weeks ago? I'd like to ask them to come up and just give us a little update on their experience and tell us how it went. And this is Jay Murray and Kendra Atkinson.
Good afternoon, or evening, I'm so sorry. I'm kind of nervous, so can you just bear with me? I'm so sorry. Okay, I did write a speech, I'm so sorry. Anyways, so being at Riley was the best experience I have ever witnessed. While we were there, they showed us to have trust in people. Even if you just met them, sometimes having trust can build a better relationship and make you better as a person. And it can give you a better work environment. They also showed us to always be considerate of your group's ideas and show you that some ideas are not so bad and can help you greatly. Even if the idea might seem not a great one in your eyes, it can always have a good outcome. These key things they taught us makes me think more outside the box and consider more ideas from people I know or don't even know. They always taught us that sometimes it's good to conquer your fears, because your fears are tiny little things holding you back for what you can achieve. Sometimes you just have to go out and give it your all. Even if you fail, always know that at least you tried and went out there and did it. I am so happy that I got chosen to experience Riley and hope the next people in our group get to go and learn more just like we did and grow from that experience. We went through. I am also happy with the group I can now call my family at Riley. They are all amazing and made me feel very welcome when I first walked in there. And lastly, I would like to thank the sponsorship who made this all possible. Thank you for this opportunity that I will never forget. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jade Murray, and we're going to be talking about my experience with Rilo. But first of all, I was like not one of the original girls who got chosen. I got pulled at the last minute, which I'm very grateful about. But I just want to talk about my experience at Rilo. With my experience at Rilo, they taught me things that I thought I would never be able to conquer or to experience and stuff. And first off, I like to talk about how they taught me how to become a better leader. They taught me how to have good communication skills, become a good listener, have advice giving and advice taking, and they also taught me how to become honest and trust. Trust played a huge part in that camp. They also taught me that I can do anything, and that nothing is never impossible if you just put your mind to it. And they also taught me just be yourself. As long as you're calm and maintain your personality and just express yourself, everything will be okay. Everything in your life will fall in place for you. But I just truly want to thank you, LaGrange, your Rotary Club, thank you for sponsoring me and giving me an opportunity to expand my horizon and a lot of my new stuff.
We have some pins for y'all, just from Rilo and Rotary. Hopefully you'll wear those when you go to more events and let people know that you've gone through the program and enjoyed it. Thank you very much for representing us. I feel like, from what you just said, I should sign up to go to the program. I remember to listen to you and trust with you more. So thank you very much for going down there and representing us and now take what you learned. Push it forward, okay? Thanks, y'all. We do have a couple minutes, I think, for some happy dollars. If anybody has anything to put in the bucket.
I have 3 happy dollars today. Well, maybe 3. One's for Jason and his leadership, so thank you for him this year. Second is my 28th year of ordination, so this month, so I'm now my 29th year. I can't believe it. Seems like yesterday I was ordained in ministry for the Archdiocese, but I'm happy to be here in LaGrange. Just finished my 5th year here, and I still have more to go, so I'm very happy. Third one is, on your tables, our church community is partnered with Habitat for Humanity in Troup County, and all the proceeds go with the Calumet Neighborhood Revitalization Program. We're partnering with 4 other churches, and there are flyers there for Sloppy Pig Barbecue Sack Lunch. And Sloppy Pig, it's a very good catering service for barbecues. We use it all the time in our church anyway. And then I tried out a lot of barbecues. Anyway, it's really good. Anyway, we're partnering with the Advent Lutheran and Confidence Missionary Baptist First Presbyterian St. Peter's Church. It'll be in our parking lot July 15th next month, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. All the proceeds go to the Calumet Neighborhood Revitalization Program, building a house in the neighborhood there. So it's a very good, worthwhile proceed. And they told me to say, if you have like 10 people at least in your company or your organization, you may order 10 and they'll freely deliver it to you, to your company. So it is a good thing to say thank you to the police, the firefighters, or the EMTs, anything in your community. So I urge you that, if you love barbecue and you want to support the Calumet community, please come and pick up a sack lunch. Thank you.
I have a $50 for LSPA. We are full to the brim. Somebody was just asking me about that. We have over 100 kids in our studios this week for dance and theater camps. And this Friday and Saturday, 4 and 7 p.m., bring yourselves and your families. We have performances. It'll be just over an hour, so if you've got kids with short attention spans, it'll help too. But we're having City School Junior. Hope you can join us.
Or parents, for sure. I just spent a week in the car with my kids, and I finally was like, I'm out of answers. I have no more answers. The well is dry. Now I'd like to call on Henry Jacobs to introduce our program today.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, so I'm glad to introduce two friends, Nate and Sam, and they are both with Dash for LaGrange, which stands for Dependable, Affordable, Sustainable Housing. So Nate Crawford is the executive director of Dash. For the last 11 years, he's been an active part of the LaGrange community. He graduated from LaGrange College, and most recently, Nate came to Dash after managing a regional veterinary hospital. And since beginning his tenure at Dash, he has overseen construction of their new office on Brownwood Avenue and successfully completed several residential construction projects in the historic Hillside neighborhood. Nate currently oversees the daily operations of Dash and a new project that he'll be sharing more about. Sam Craig is the Director of Development for Dash. He's a LaGrange native. Sam graduated from LaGrange High School and then went to the University of Georgia. And he holds an MBA from Georgia Tech in real estate and finance. He is there. Prior to graduate school, Sam worked at a fundraising consulting firm in Atlanta as a capital campaign development consultant, and he moved back here to LaGrange in 2020, and he's served previously as a trustee of the Callaway Foundation and Fuller E. Callaway Foundation. Sam and fellow club member Jake Jones co-founded the UGA needs-based Gail and William Oliver Honeycutt Scholarship with over $1.5 million in funds raised to date. Sam started his role with Dash as a strategy consultant and was then promoted to Director of Development last July. He is I like this, he added in, he's the proud grandson of the late Charles Hudson, who had 33 years of consecutive perfect attendance as a member of this Rotary Club. So welcome, please help me welcome Sam.
Thank y'all. I wanted something to break the ice as I'm looking around the room, and this is blowing my mind. I've never seen George Bailey not in a suit. I did not know this man had anything this casual, so that just made my day. You're setting me up for 4th of July, so I appreciate it, George. Thank you. So I'm going to go into our presentation today. We're told we can talk about one development, and so we are going to do that, but I think it's also important you kind of know a little bit of background and history about Dash. We were in a marketing meeting yet on Monday, and there's lots of thoughts that people know about Dash. If I ask you what you know about Dash, you probably say one thing, I'll probably say that's not right, or you might say another thing, I might say that's exactly right. So I kind of want to give you a little bit of brief history, a little bit of our impact, and then we're going to kind of go into the development that we're going to be talking about today. If our clicker will work. I knew there would be something, undoubtedly, that didn't work. Let's try it now. There we go. Okay. Okay, so what is Dash? The goal of Dash is neighborhood revitalization. If there's nothing else that you remember from today, please remember that our goal is neighborhood revitalization. That is the umbrella that we operate under, and that gives us a lot of freedom to do a lot of really cool things. Neighborhoods have lots of multiple facets. There's probably 10,000 ways that you can think of to make a neighborhood better. And one of those things for us is housing. One of those things is commercial property. One of those things is walkability. One of those things is safe streets. One of those things is desirability, aesthetics, housing type, housing style. So there's a lot that goes into neighborhood revitalization, and that is what we live and breathe on a daily basis. So that is how we're thinking about our work. Dash only creates low-income housing. This is a false statement. We don't just do low-income housing, and we want people to know that. We will happily have a brain surgeon living in a house, and we'll happily have a single mom with 5 kids. It doesn't matter to us. We're not based on income in that regard. So anybody who's more welcome to lease as much as a standard lease application, you can fill it out. You pass the background check, the credit check. then you can move into our property. So that's a misconception that we want to get rid of. Dash is for the homeless population. Again, we are not equipped to handle the homeless population. That is not our work. Our work is neighborhood revitalization. So when people get referred to us for homelessness and homeless care, that's just something we're not equipped for. So that's a myth that I wanted to dispel. Dash owns over 9,000 square feet of commercial property. This is true. We own Cart Barn Restaurant, and the development that we're going to be talking about today is adds an additional 7,000 square feet of commercial space, because commercial space plays a vital role in neighborhood revitalization, and we're very excited about that. And then another myth is that Dash only works in Hillside. It would probably blow your mind to know that we have developments here in LaGrange, in Hogansville, West Point, Waycross, Georgia, Florence, Alabama. We went for a tax credit deal in South Carolina. So Dash is all over the place, and we do tremendous amounts of work. It is true that Hillside is our target neighborhood. We invest a tremendous amount of capital in that neighborhood, but we do housing all over. And it's really cool. I was thinking about it today that we have tax credit developments that we have in Florence, Alabama, that are mission driven for housing, and that's able to give us developer fees that we can then reinvest in other mission driven work. And so we are mission driven pretty much totally across the board, which I think is a really neat aspect of our work. The Dash impact. Okay, Dash was founded in 2002. I was 10 years old. So all these numbers up here, I have done none of these, okay? So this is not my impact. This is the impact of people that have come before me. But I would love to say these numbers. So Dash has attracted and invested over $51 million of capital in the city of LaGrange alone since 2002, which I think is a pretty significant number. Dash has created over 700 units of housing. Those include the ones in Florence, Alabama, Waycross, Georgia, West Point, Hogansville. We will be adding more in Hogansville. There's a tax credit that is now being built there for 44 additional units of senior housing in Hogansville. We're proud of this. The city is a partner with us, and they have supported us financially for 20 years now. But we are also proud to say that we have supported the city, and we help generate $706,000 of utility revenue for the city every year. That's not double dipping and saying, oh, this house already existed. We'll count it twice. No, that's new housing that we have helped create here in Troup County. And that number is based on $135 average a month for utilities, which we know is probably a little bit more than that. And then also the Troup County tax base, that's including obviously West Point and Hogansville. Well, we've increased that by over $64 million. And with our tax credit in Hogansville, we're expecting that number to go up early next year. If you have eaten at Cart Barn, you've been in a Dash-owned property, and we are very proud of this property. We think it's a great place, and we are glad that we have a great tenant in that space. Before Cart Barn looked like this, it looked like this, and no one would have eaten there. And that's why our work is so important, because we are helping revitalize an area and drawing people in, bringing disposable income into the neighborhood, bringing people into Hillside that might not have been there before. So our work is very significant in these regards. This is our project that we're going to talk about today. You've probably seen it. If you wanted cheap, out-of-date beer, you could have got it here and have bought it here before, okay? But this was, or is, 706 Lincoln Street. It was built in 1935 by Callaway Mills. It's a little over 7,000 square feet, and the architect on this project, which is really cool to me, is Ivan Cook. If you are a nerd like I am when it comes to architecture, building, construction, design, Ivan Cook is a really cool name to have attached with the building. There's some beautiful houses around the city. There's some other beautiful structures that Ivan Cook designed and built, and now Dash is an owner of one of these. And so we are working on a restoration project of this building that Sam will go into a little bit further. When we first bought this building, we went to the archives. This is a little plug for the archives. If you have not been to the archives, you need to go and check it out. It's a phenomenal research on this building for us. They found out a lot of really cool information. They actually pulled out blueprints for this whole site that was originally platted or set up by the Callaway Mills. And then they also pulled out some hand sketches by Ivan Cook that we got to touch. And I just thought that was a really cool thing that they have them stored at the archives. Back in the 30s, it was a grocery store. It had a grocery store as one of the stores. In the 70s, it was still a thriving area. You had the Hillside Grocery, you had a vending company, and you had a barber shop that advertised that had air conditioning. So those were good things back in the day. So now I'm going to hand it off to Sam and let him talk a little bit about the vision of this project, and then we'll switch back.
I'm not as good at projecting my voice as me, so I'm going to utilize the microphone. It's great to be here. Henry, I appreciate your comment about my grandfather. I think he would want to be proud that I'm speaking, but he would also be disappointed to have to join Rotary. So, so the vision for this project. It's been around for roughly 9 decades. It was once a community asset, and it no longer became a community asset. So the idea was historical preservation and bringing this back so that it is a community asset. Also, we didn't just acquire building, we also acquired land behind that building. And that land proved to be very important because we were able to add that depth and have gathering space. So at that point, it's now becoming an adaptive reuse project, which gives us more square footage to work with. Also, we did 2 studies, one in 2005 and one in 2016, where we got feedback from the neighborhood. What types of businesses would they like to see? What types of retail? There was overarching support for a grocery store. There was overarching support for restaurants. There was overarching support for a coffee shop or cafe or sandwiches. So it was important for us to deliver on what the neighborhood wanted. We didn't want to just build something and it's only outside locals coming in who wanted it to actually be embraced by the neighborhood. So that was very important for us. Also, Hillside is a very diverse neighborhood. It was very important that businesses, at least a portion of them, reflected within the graphics of the neighborhood. So that was having priority of minority-owned businesses. So you'll get to find out at the end of the presentation whether we delivered on that vision.
This slide is blank, and that either means we had no challenges in this project, or it means we had so many that they wouldn't fit on one slide. I'll let you take a guess which. I'll click through some things that we encountered with this. And also, before you say, you didn't do your due diligence very well. Yes, we did. We had an inspector, we had material testing, we did all these things. So we knew to an extent what we were getting into. Maybe not the depth of what we were getting into, but we definitely knew that there were some issues. One, this is the beauty that our tenants left. We had a pool table that we became owners of. I don't know where it went. We don't have it anymore, but there were a lot of things that got left behind that we quickly became the owners of. But as you can see, it was a big mess. This was, I will give them, this was a little bit into demo. They didn't leave ductwork hanging down when they left, but there was a lot of debris left behind. This is really fascinating. When we went to the archives said there was a fire in that building in the 40s. Okay, cool story. Well, we had basically charcoal in our ceiling that was holding up our roof, and we found that when we took the ceiling out. So that has been now repaired, but I mean, it was legitimately charcoal. You could break it off in chunks. So not the kind of building you want to be in, but it was very post-war World War II reconstruction, and so it was very minimal. So it's been kind of interesting to see that the story in the newspaper in the 40s lined up with what we actually found. Termites. We knew there were termites, and they absolutely owned this building. I mean, they had eaten everything. These are just some floor joist examples, but the load-bearing beams that carried the whole roof structure had been eaten to a pulp as well. Asbestos. We knew there was asbestos. In the first slide, you saw the blue and yellow tiles. We knew there was some in there, but we thought the rest of the building was clean. But they stacked flooring, they stacked flooring, they stacked flooring. So if you had 5 layers of flooring, there was asbestos in the middle layer. And so when we take out a floor, we'd have to shut down the whole place, and they have to contain it and then pull the floor out. So there was a lot of asbestos in there. This is our demo crew. They did a phenomenal job and made us feel very safe. This is actually getting asbestos out so it doesn't go into the air around you. And this is how we supported walls to take out the bottom beam in order to hold up the wall so the roof didn't fall in to replace those. So when this building is done, it will be very safe. It's not going anywhere for another 100 years. Project funding. Project funding is an interesting thing. Obviously, a lot of things don't get done around here without the Callaway Foundation. They have been a continuous supporter of ours. In fact, they started us off in 2002 with $5 million of seed money. We haven't gotten to get that large since, I promise. We take it, but we haven't gotten that since. But they did support us with a matching grant of $500,000 on this project, and we are very grateful for that. Some of the other money that is being used for this is developer fees from tax credit projects, from the sale of some of our other properties, and so that's how we're funding this. We will have a small debt portion on this, and Jake Jones will be happy about that, I guess. But there's a lot of factors that go into creating a project of this size, and so overall, I think that we're looking about a $1.4 million project to revitalize this, and so that's kind of where we are in project funding.
Okay, I can't stand behind the podium. I'm gonna have to project my voice better. So this is our development team. So remediation, that's sort of the asbestos, any structural issues. Tom is the sort of the main guy with that. And it got to the point where if you saw Tom coming to talk to you, not a good thing. It was a certain point where it was like, no, Tom, please don't tell us there's anything else. And it was always, well, we found this in this unit. And then we have our general contractor, and really that's Patrick. Maybe we're to work with, but also the architect, Jerry Clement. This isn't just a professional thing for him. He's really enjoyed the process of bringing this building back to life, which is really cool. And he's just amazing to work with. Absolutely hilarious. Okay, budgeting. So when you're doing a renovation on an 87-year-old building, when you get a bid from a general contractor and you see a $55,000 contingency, you sort of scratch your head. So what we did was we took that $55,000 and multiplied it by 6, which ended up being $300,000. And I just honestly, I don't have any logic for that number, but I just thought it was reasonable. And based on the picture you just saw, I can guarantee you we needed every penny of that $300,000. So yeah, contingency, very important. Okay, so what you're probably wondering is, well, where are we at on this? Who's going to be coming in? Were we able to get majority of businesses? Were we able to get a restaurant? Were we able to get a grocery store? Is that back then going to work out? So these businesses we have letter of intent with, that we've had serious conversations, floor plans have been created, they are all bought in. So the ice cream store is interesting. So we have the barbecue restaurant from Newman called Point Joint. They're phenomenally popular. You might have either their Noonan or their Zebulon. It's a good price point, it's a great product, and we sort of think barbecue is sort of the vibe that would help Siding Newman. Previously a barbecue restaurant there. So the barbecue restaurant became the ice cream store, because in Newnan, they have 2 locations together. So what happens is people will eat barbecue and then go eat ice cream afterwards. So it's sort of like a snowball effect. And the bakery was just last week. And the exciting thing about the bakery is that there will be coffee in the morning, which is huge. We wanted to have businesses where we would have people come in the morning, afternoon, and dinner. So the bakery will have coffee, bagels, and then sandwiches for lunch, and really just sort of a fun, unique retail type business. And then we have the grocery store, and this is a guy out of Columbus who already has a store, and it is not a convenience store. It is more of a grocery store, and we're very excited about him coming in. Really, for us, the grocery store was probably the most important tenant for us. And then the vintage furniture store, that was an existing business that was there, we really liked. And we're keeping it. This is how it sort of will all look. So you got ice cream right here, one joint right here, bakery right here, grocery store, market, and then the vintage furniture store. This will be the back deck. We'll have a covered back deck. You can eat there all seasons. AC, heat when we need it. And then this will sort of be shaded, sort of gathering place with additional dining. And then this will be just grassy area. And then what we're really hoping to do is open up Beacon's back fence and have some connectivity there. And so you'll have people walking from Lincoln Street, maybe they're coming from the Thread, they'll eat ice cream. And it's just really a pretty phenomenal mix of tenants. And we would not have been able to get all of these tenants if we didn't have the back deck. Because they're seating the barbecue restaurant needed in order to make that. So this is proof we are doing a back deck. It's going to extend 18 feet out. This picture was taken yesterday. And then we're projected to finish October of 2022. I will tell you that date is a moving target. There's so many just things that you have to navigate through, the hurdle of, the tenant build outs and a lot of other things we're navigating through. But we're really hoping and expecting to have this project delivered by October 2022, which will be cool because that's the 20-year anniversary of Dash getting our 501c3 set. So it could be a nice little party in the back deck. Let's see. And then that's it. I sort of had the quote, "Fortune favors the bold." This was an incredibly risky project for us. We had no idea if the budget was going to go way overboard. We had no idea if we were going to be able to get the tenants that we wanted. They would pay the rent rates that we wanted them to. And so far, we're on track to absolutely deliver on everything we want. So at this point, I'll open it up for questions. And if you ask me a hard question, I'm going to make Nate.
On the challenge section, you said you ran out of space, or you just had to challenge you for 90 miles. Which one was it?
On what?
Challenge.
Oh, what was the hardest challenge? I think it was demo was the hardest challenge. We expected to be out of there in probably a couple months, and 6 months later they were still. I mean, they just wrapped up basically yesterday, or on Friday. So just the time frame of demo has been astronomical.
So you ran out of space, or you just had to challenge, if I can say?
Yeah. No, I meant on that slide. We couldn't fit all our challenges on that slide, but no, lots of challenges on that slide.
How will you do, you have to work up the pieces here, but how long term do you expect your kind of partners with, we want those businesses to be successful? And, you thought that through yet?
Yeah, we've realized we're terrible businessmen. Like, we're terrible at it. And you have to be terrible at it to get the people you want initially. And I mean, some of this, like we have offered free rent for months to get people there, to secure them. And we know that getting staffing in the restaurant industry is really hard. And so 6 months of free rent for restaurants, man, they jumped on that because they said, you know what, we cannot have to worry about paying rent. We can focus on getting staff and building our restaurant space. And so for them, I mean, that's a terrible business decision, but we know the long term will pay off. And so that's kind of where we are now. In terms of what you're asking.
So there was a street festival with short trees in the neighborhood. And when I was walking around, it looked like there was a yoga studio next to Park One. Is that still there? And is that attached to the property?
It is not a Dash property. If it's ever offered for sale, we want to buy it, but it's not a dash cam, but they're the yoga studio.
I forgot one thing I wanted to add that very important to mention. We talked about minority-owned businesses. The grocery store and the bakery would both be African-American owned businesses, which I'm very excited about.
We know that that barber shop is the one where Elmer had it, so.
The Hogansville property, senior, what is it going to be based on?
Yeah, so tax credits are income based. We don't actually manage those, our development partner does. But those will be 50 to 60% of the median income. So probably incomes around $36,000 a year or so. That'll be for seniors.
Sorry, I got one more question. I heard you say bakery and grocery store, and minority business. Are they locally or are they from outside?
One of them is local, one of them is from Columbus.
Thoughts, concerns? Good. Well,
Nate, Sam, thank you very much first of all, for what y'all doing for our community. We can all see it, the baby steps that y'all are taking, and this does feel like one of those giant steps. It'll be nice to be able to see that, what goes on and what happens next over there and everywhere else y'all are touching. Thanks for making our town a better place. In honor of y'all speaking today, we're going to make a donation to Foley & Plus, which is Rotary's initiative for really well holding. So thank you for that. And I'll second your comment about the archives. If you haven't gone to the archives, go over there. You can dig in, and you can end up being over there all day. So it's a valuable resource, and I'm glad you did.
can I add one more thing? Yeah. It's not lost on us that although we are putting in a tremendous amount of capital, the foundation, Kelly Foundation has contributed the ultimate capital influx and sacrifices for these business owners that are willing to go out on a limb and put a new business in place. And so when this is up and running, I want you all to be there and buy something at least once in every business that's over there. Continue to support them because that's how we thrive. So please make sure you save $20 to go buy you some barbecue or go shop in the Thrift Peak store. But that's very important because they are also putting their own capital in to make sure this is a successful program. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Just a reminder that we don't have a meeting next week because of the parade. Y'all all should have got an email about that. So Monday, if you can help with the parade, 9 a.m. at Sweetland. No, don't be here next Wednesday. No meeting Wednesday. We'll gather the following Wednesday on the 13th. We also reminded that we have a board meeting next door right now, and with that, we're adjourned.